Most people lose money in the market for a very simple reason. They treat 100% of their portfolio like it's a casino. One week it's crypto, next week it's AI, then meme coins, then options, then my buddy said this stock is going to 10x. And then they burn out, say investing doesn't work, and miss the part where steady people are quietly getting rich. So here's the fix. Split your investing into two lanes. Lane 1 is your ETF Core, Lane 2 is your fun money. The core is where the real wealth comes from. The fun money is where you get to scratch the I want to pick stuff itch without blowing up your future. That's the whole idea. Serious money in a boring engine, curiosity money in a small bucket. You get performance and discipline from the core, and you get entertainment and learning from the fun side. You don't have to choose between being a boring investor and having fun. You just have to put them in the right order. Let's start with the core. Your core is the part of your portfolio that's supposed to work even if you ignore it for 6 months. It's the part that doesn't depend on you being right. It's the part that owns broad markets, hundreds or thousands of companies, inside one or two low-cost ETFs. This can be as simple as one total US stock market ETF, or a 70-30 split between US and international, or a classic 3-fund style mix, US stocks, international stocks and bonds. The details don't matter as much as people think. What matters is that the core is diversified, low-fee and automated. Why ETFs for the core? Because they're cheap, they're liquid, you can buy them every paycheck, and they don't require you to read balance sheets at midnight. You can literally set up an automatic buy and go live your life. That's what we want from a core. Now, how big should the core be? I like 80-20 or 90-10. 80 to 90% of everything you invest each month goes into the core. 10 to 20% goes into fun money. If you're more chaotic or you like to trade, you can do 70-30, but I would not go below that unless you really know what you're doing. Remember, the core is what you're going to retire on. The fun money is what you're going to talk about. Don't flip those. Let's make it real. Say you can invest $500 a month. With an 80-20 rule, 400 goes straight to your ETF Core, 100 goes to your fun money account. If you can invest 1,000 a month, 800 core, 200 fun. If you can invest 200 a month, 160 core, 40 fun. You don't earn your way into this system. You just do it with whatever number you have. The magic is not in the amount. The magic is in the separation. So, what do we actually put in the ETF Core? Keep it stupid simple. One option, 100% into a total market ETF. That's it. Another option, 80% into a US total market ETF, 20% into an international ETF. Another option, if you want to be slightly more cautious or you're closer to needing the money, 70% stocks, 30% bond ETF. All of those are fine. The point is that the core owns the market, not your opinion. When AI is hot, your core owns AI through the index. When energy is hot, your core owns energy through the index. When small caps come back, your core owns small caps through the index. You don't have to predict rotation. The index rotates for you. Now, let's talk about the thing you really wanted to hear, the fun money. Fun money is the little corner of your portfolio where you can buy individual stocks, try a sector ETF, hold some Bitcoin, buy a growth name, or even take a small speculative bet. It's where you get to learn. It's where you get to feel like an investor, not just a contributor. And that's important, because one of the reasons people quit on ETFs is because they get bored. ETFs are incredible for long-term wealth, but they are not exciting. So instead of pretending we're robots, we build the excitement into the plan. You want to buy Nvidia or Tesla or some tiny biotech or some new dividend stock or a country ETF because of the news? Cool. Do it. But only in the fun bucket. You do not rob the core to feed the fun. This is the rule that saves you. Your fun money can go to zero and your life plan doesn't change. If you're running 90-10 and your 10% gets cut in half because you chased something that didn't work, you lost 5% of the total portfolio, not 50%. That's a bruise, not a broken leg. That's the whole reason we do it this way. Trading and stock picking aren't bad. Doing them with the rent money is bad. This is how you keep yourself off the emotional roller coaster. You know, the rent is coming from your job and your long-term wealth is coming from your ETFs. The fun trading is just that, fun. Let's zoom out and see what this looks like over a few years. Year 1, your fun money might even beat your core, because sometimes you get lucky. You bought a stock that doubled and your core just slowly grew. Great. Enjoy it. But don't respond to that by shrinking the core. Year 2 and 3. Maybe you have a year where the market is up 12% and your stock picks are flat. You're still okay because 80 or 90% of your money was in the thing that went up. That is the power of having a core. You don't have to be right every year. You just have to show up every month. Let's deal with the usual objections. First objection. But what if I find a really good opportunity? Can I borrow from the core just once? No. If it's really a good opportunity, you can fund it from future fund money contributions. The second you start raiding the core for just this one trade, you don't have a core anymore. You just have vibes. Second objection, isn't 10% too small to make a difference? It depends on how long you run it and how much you invest. If you invest 1,000 a month for 10 years, that's 120,000 total. 10% of that is 12,000. If you 2x that over time with good picks, that's 24,000. That's not nothing. But the real win is that while you were doing that, the other 108,000 was growing quietly in broad ETFs. Third objection, can I make crypto my fund money? Yes. That's actually a great place to park it. If crypto runs, awesome. If it tanks, your retirement is fine. Let's talk psychology for a second, because this is actually where this strategy wins. Most of the time, people blow up their investing plan not because the math was wrong, but because the plan was too strict for their personality. Only index funds, forever, never pick anything, is mathematically fine, but some people genuinely get too bored and go off plan. So instead of pretending you'll never be curious, we make curiosity legal. We just make it small. That way, you don't binge trade. You micro trade. You don't blow up your future. You feed your curiosity in a controlled way. Now, what about rebalancing? Your core is designed to grow. Your fund money is designed to be volatile. Every 6 or 12 months, look at the percentages. If the fund money ran hot and is now 20% of your total, you can skim some profits and push them back into the ETF Core to bring it back to 10 or 15. That's you saying, nice win, now back to work. If the fund money tanked and is now 5%, you don't need to fix it immediately. You just keep adding your monthly fund allocation and it will rebuild. The rule is, protect the core, tolerate the swings in the fund bucket. Let's do a couple of examples so you can hear yourself in one of them. Example 1. Beginner, 26 years old, can invest 300 a month. Plan 240 into a total market ETF every month, 60 into a separate brokerage where they can pick 1 or 2 stocks a month or buy a bit of crypto. Even if every single stock they pick is mid, in 5 years they'll still have a solid ETF balance. Example 2. 35 years old, good career, can invest 1,200 a month. Plan 1,000 into ETF Core split between US and international, 200 into fund account for single names, sector funds or speculative stuff. 10 years of that and the core will be doing most of the work. Example 3. 42, high income, already has 100k invested. Plan. From now on, 90% of all new money goes to core, 10% to play. That protects what they already built. The strategy works at every level. One thing I want to be super clear about, ETF Core first is not anti-fun. It's anti-regret. It's anti, I blew 5 years of investing on stuff that didn't work. It's you saying, I'm going to guarantee myself long-term wealth by owning the market, and I'm going to give myself room to experiment. That is a grown-up investing plan. That's the plan you can explain to a spouse, to a friend, or to your future self. And here's the best part. If your fund money does insanely well, 5x, 10x, whatever, you now have a choice. You can cash some of it out and dump it into the ETF Core, locking the win into a boring engine. Or you can leave it and keep playing. But the point is, you had the win inside a safe container. That's how rich people do it. They take a small piece of their money, take a higher risk with it, and when it works, they roll some of the profits back into safer stuff. So if I had to write this on a sticky note, it would be this. Own the world with ETFs. Entertain yourself with 10%, never raid the core. That's it. That's the video. This is Compound State. We build the wealth boring, we scratch the itch small.